Welcome everyone to today's Google Hangout. I've got a very special guest by the name of Patrice Cokley, marketing consultant, social media enthusiast. She's an author, a speaker, and just a fabulous all-around person. And I'm very excited to have her as in part of the show today because we're going to be talking about a lot of hot topics. But one of the things that stands out to me about Patrice is this amazing blog post that she wrote on Beyonce, and we all know what went on with Beyonce when she launched her album with no marketing, no heads up, and man, the buzz that was around that was immense around social media, and she wrote this amazing blog post about it that really kind of highlighted how strong Beyonce was when it came to marketing, kind of the genius behind this concept. So, that prompted me. I'm like, man, Patrice is awesome. This is a great topic, great, very timely. I got to invite her and hang out with me because she's probably got a wealth of information regarding marketing and social media that I want her to share with you guys watching this video today. So, Patrice, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and inviting me.
Yes. So, are you part of the Beehive, as they call it?
I'm on the way. I'm on the way. I think she's recruiting me with this last album.
So tell me, before we go into more of the stuff that we've got planned for the show, that particular article, tell me kind of the process of what you went through in writing that piece on Beyonce and her marketing.
Right. Well, that her album dropped the same night of Scandal. So I was watching Scandal, tweeting about it and just like about to pass out because that episode was just crazy. It was crazy. Yeah. So I went to bed, and sometimes when I go to sleep, I'll just, scroll through Twitter until I pass out. Next thing you know, on Twitter, people just started tweeting like, oh, my God, Beyonce just dropped the album. Now, mind you, I'm laying in bed ready to go to sleep. And I'm like, what is going on? So I'm reading the tweets, and sure enough, she dropped this album, all these songs and videos. And I'm just like, wow, oh, my God. No one can do that but Beyonce. And it was like she had so many downloads and so many hours. I stayed up reading everyone's tweets and their reviews of the album for about 3 hours. I was up till about 4 in the morning reading tweets, and I said, I need to write a post about this because watch, the next day you're gonna have all these people, all these artists singing in their bathroom, thinking that they can just drop an album in and they blow up, and it doesn't work that way. So in my bed, using my little notepad on there, I just wrote that article right on my phone.
And it was great because I think people look at it and like, well, she didn't do a lot of marketing with this launch, but look at all the marketing she's done prior to that, right? She's built up her social capital to the point now she could do things like that. So everyone out there that's watching that doesn't have that social capital, you're not Beyonce. So don't think you can get away with doing that.
Right. I mean, she was on Star Search when she was, like 10, 11 years old. And she's like, 32 now? So, I mean, she's 20 years doing this. So you can't just roll out of bed and say you're going to drop an album. So I had to write it.
That was a great post and really caught my attention, Patrice. And I know you're a young Beyonce, right? Getting started with your entrepreneurship, with your business, with your consulting. How long have you been doing this for? I know you've worked for companies in the past, but how recent was it when you decided to you woke up one day flawless and then you started you launched your business? Tell me about the story behind that.
Well, PKC Marketing has been in existence since 2008, actually. So I consulted on and off. I started a lifestyle brand back then that catered to a really, really niche market, and that's where I really got my experience with blogging, online marketing, and social media. I mean, this was back when MySpace was hot. So that's when I really got my experience in it and learning HTML and CSS, just enough to make the changes that I needed to make, but not to build a site from scratch. And that's where I really got the love of it, and I saw that it was a good way to network and meet people because everyone's busy. It's kind of hard to, as I had mentioned, it's hard to find that mentor or track them down and whatnot. And I just saw social media as a really good tool to do that. So over the years, I decided to dissolve that particular brand and just launch PKC Marketing. And from there, I assisted some other small businesses back home in Detroit. and then while working full time. So it was on and off. But just recently in October, things didn't work out with my last employer. So I said, this is time. This is the time for me to really go into this full time. I think I've learned enough. I feel confident enough. I mean, that was the most important thing, feeling confident enough to go out and pursue it. So I said, well, this is the time to really, really make this happen.
Right, and I think a valuable lesson from that, many entrepreneurs or folks that want to be entrepreneurs think that they just have to leave their day job and go full blown into launching a business. That's not the case, right? You've been able to learn and to acquire knowledge and information on the side, kind of a side hustle that you've built over time. And then something happened with your, you got fed up, or you got to the point that maybe you've got a lot of money saved, and you're like, okay, now it's time. Now I could really do that, and you did it. You took that leap of faith, right? Caused by not being completely satisfied with your full time, and now that leap of faith. Tell me, was that scary? Kind of going into that, knowing that you don't have a steady paycheck coming in, or kind of a structure in place. Give me some insight on how that was.
It's very scary. It's scary now, especially when the holidays come around. No one's really thinking about their business around that time. So no one's spending any money. They're spending on Christmas gifts and their children and families and whatnot. So the leap was actually it was kind of scary, and it's still scary now. But I say, you know what? I'm gonna just leave it up to God. I have faith. I'm not really one of those church-going folks, but I do believe. I pray, and I just have faith. And I say this is what God wants me to do, because it always leads back to PKC marketing. It always goes back to it. It's just thinking about all the years that I've been working for folks, and things didn't go right, or the feelings that I felt on the job, and I'm just like, okay, it just goes back to this. So I said, just have faith and pray about it, and hopefully everything will work out. And so far, so good. So far.
So tell me about the good. Right now that you're in the swing of things, you've got your foundation laid out. You believed in yourself, believed in God. I could do this. And you're making it work. So tell me, how that's coming about. Where are you getting clients from? What are you doing exactly for your clients, and how are you helping them grow their business?
Networking. I mean, for one, doing this interview with you, it's a form of networking. And I place a lot of value on social media. Because, that was how I met you. There's how I met a lot of people out here in Chicago, because I'm based in Chicago right now. I'm originally from Detroit, and that's how I pretty much just found who's doing what out here. It was all on social media, most importantly, Twitter. And, I'm at the events. I got my business cards ready. I'm meeting folks, learning what they do, the areas that they need help in. So I say it's just stepping outside of your house, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and just getting in people's faces and getting to know them.
Yeah. So
I noticed that has really helped a lot, tremendously. Like within the last, within the last 6 months. Just networking alone has gotten me on a panel with Social Media Week out here in Chicago. I'm a co-author in a book that's coming out in 2 months, and it's just amazing. And so far so good. It's really working. So I say just network and just meet people while developing your craft. You don't want to lose your skills and whatnot, so you always want to stay on top of industry news and things like that, but definitely networking.
Definitely, and I agree. I know a lot of my success I give credit because of the people that I've met, right? The relationships that you built, from networking, both social but in person, and it's good to do both, right? Sometimes we get caught up too much on Twitter and having social engagement, which is great. We still want to do that, but if that's all you do, you're missing out on the meeting, face to face, the shaking of the hands, right, and the hugs and that type of interaction. So, give me some tips. People that are maybe just doing social media and not really going to the face-to-face events, like. And maybe they're very shy and don't know exactly what to do or what events to go to. Like, give me some tips for a beginner that is looking to improve their networking skills to your level.
Yeah. I always start with a compliment. That's one thing. I'm one of those that I prefer to just live behind my computer, even though I know it's not healthy. That's why I got into social media. So I'm that person that you just described. I can be somewhat shy at times, and then there's times where I'm just wild and crazy. But I would say definitely start with a compliment. I noticed that helped, and it has to be genuine. So if someone has a shirt that I just absolutely admire, I just ask them, "Oh my God, where did that come from?" You know, or anything like that. Or even it's just a simple hello. You know, is this your first time at this event? This is my first time, and is it usually this packed? You know, just flow, just go out and converse with people. You know, and I noticed that really helped, and it took off a lot of the stress and that whole social anxiety that most have when they go into to these situations. It's just be cool, be natural, and just spark up a conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to open it, right? A sincere, again, focus on the sincere part.
Exactly.
Compliment, because it puts people's guard down, right? A lot of us are, sometimes we go to the event like, oh my God, who's going to try to sell me something today, right? But, by being complimented, by being genuinely interested in that individual, asking questions more than you talk,
Right.
I think is great, really listening. That's, I think, the most important part of communication and building relationships. So awesome advice. And so turning those connections now into clients, right? That's another next step. So you meet people, you have great conversations, find out what those people do, and how do you provide value now that you've made those connections? Like, how do you turn that into a prospect or a referral or an actual paying client?
Right. Well, my approach is trying not to be that pushy salesperson. I absolutely despise pushy salespeople. I never enjoyed any sales position that I've had because I felt like that's what they wanted you to be, and that's so not me. And even within my own business, that's a strategy that I steer clear from. So that's why it's extremely important for me to really get to know that person, even if it's getting to know if they have a pet or something, just anything, because I have a cat and I talk about him sometimes, or if they have a child, and I see your baby.
What's your cat's name?
My cat name is Toot. Tootie, I call him Tootie. Yeah, so even that, if you notice that if you speak to people and just hold that genuine conversation, it'll just flow. So when I convert, they pretty much have an idea of what I do because we talk about it. When you have that conversation with people, you know what they do, they know what you do, and then it just works out. They say, hey, I noticed that social media is becoming like time consuming. I don't have time for it. You think you can help out? I know that's what you do. So when they have that need and it comes to mind, you're the first person they think of because you've invested in them as a person. So that's pretty much my strategy.
Yeah, that's a great strategy. I think you're focusing on the building awareness, and that's the piece that you really tend to focus on. Let people know what it is that you do. Find out what they do, right? The more people know what you do and like you, the more likely they are to do business with you or think of you when that situation happens. But if you're that pushy salesperson, like you said, and you're constantly trying to sell stuff or push stuff, that's a turn off. They're going to go somewhere else. They're not going to think of you. They don't want to even know anything about you, and they'll go somewhere else. So I think that's a strategy that most businesses are looking to align themselves with because that's what's working nowadays, right? I mean, we have Google, we have social media. If we want something, we'll go and find it,
right?
And you're going to go to the places that we're most aware about. So, with that in mind, now how are you building awareness for the PKC brand, right? So you've are very active, I know, on Twitter. How else would you recommend someone building that awareness of their services and of themselves online?
Definitely strategic partnerships, working with people that has a particular audience that meshes well with you, and just getting to know what they do and see how you guys can work together where it's a win-win situation. That's definitely helped. And just being everywhere. That's how I look at it. And being consistent with the brand. I'm always saying PKC, PKC. A lot of people call me that now. It's no longer Patrice or Miss Cokley, which I hate. That sounds like my mom. But they know me by my initials. Oh, there's PKC. They know my card. They know the logo. So, yes, somebody told me that they were at church, and someone in their church pulled out my card. I'm like, oh my God, at church? Wow.
Nice.
So it's definitely having that strong brand identity to the point where it's everywhere and it sticks. So those partnerships and also speaking engagements, I make sure they include my logo. So they know what it is and my picture, and um, that's pretty much what I do, is just, network in that aspect, getting speaking engagements, hosting workshops, which I'm going to start doing within the next month or so. Yeah, doing that has helped tremendously.
You've got, I think it's a Twitter or a social media workshop that
Right.
coming up, right?
Yeah, I'm working on that one now. I've been searching for some venue spaces out here in Chicago. One I was looking at, but they're like booked all summer for the time slot that I want. But I think I got one now. I think I have a location, and I'm in the process of securing that now and picking a date and just launching it. So, yeah, because I notice a lot of people don't see the value in Twitter. And I just tweeted out today that I think they sleep on Twitter because they're afraid to engage, because Twitter is one of those type of networks where if you don't engage with people, it doesn't work. You can't constantly post about yourself. So that's one of the workshops I'm putting together, is to show people that Twitter is really a good tool. So
that's excellent. I think you've nailed it as far as being able to build a business. A lot of it is providing value up front, right, and doing these workshops and public speaking and generating good content on your blog, so people could see this, get ideas from it and get value from it. And when an opportunity comes that they need these services that you provide so well, they're going to come approach you. And I know you've done a great job of branding yourself specifically in entertainment, right? We were talking, opened up with Beyonce, right? Yeah. She's the one of the head people when it comes to entertainment, and her husband Jay-Z. So tell me about how you've been helping folks and businesses and individuals in the entertainment industry with their marketing and their business, and how you want to develop that even more.
Yeah. I actually started out in undergrad as a music major. I was a music major for about a year, so I had all the theory and the ear training and the piano classes. I played piano since I was about 10, on and off. So I just have a love and a passion for the music industry, the creativity, and just hearing all the notes played together, to the point where I just love the fact that music can encourage some sort of emotion and bring out an emotion to you. With you. It could be either good, bad, and it has a purpose, not just music. It serves a purpose at times. So over the years, I've encountered numerous amount of entertainers and artists and whatnot, and I've noticed that they have no clue on how to brand themselves. They just put music out and expect someone to work with them, invest in them, book them for a show, and it's like, okay, what else do you have to offer besides good music? Do you have a fan base? Do you have some sort of buzz online? What's your brand? What do you stand for? What do you represent? So in the midst of me helping out regular, just normal small businesses and entrepreneurs, whether they're a lifestyle brand, a clothing store, or author and whatnot, I've always kept a pulse on the music industry, hence my Beyonce post, and I did a post regarding Kanye and his brand. I always just kept my ears on that. And just recently I decided, okay, I need a niche. I really need to really focus on something that I'm passionate about. I'm not saying I'm not passionate about anything else, but something that really strongly interests me. And I said, okay, let's go back here. Let's go back to when I was 10 years old playing the piano. Let's just go back to helping these folks, because I feel like there's a need. There's definitely a need. And I see more and more people on YouTube standing in front of the mirror rapping, and I'm like, okay, let's invest in yourselves and let's make this an actual career versus a hobby. So yeah, that's where I'm pretty much at right now, in the process of developing that brand and the type of services that I want to offer, because it is a little different than just regular retail shops and authors and whatnot. Working with artists is totally different, because they're a business and it's just one person sometimes. So I'm currently in the process of developing those services and getting a couple people to work with on that. But yeah, it's coming along really good.
No, I think that's a great niche to focus on, because those artists need social media help. I think more than a lot of other businesses or professionals, because they themselves are their own brand, right? And a lot of these labels are looking for artists not that they just don't have to have good music, but they have to have a good brand that they could capitalize on, and it could market well. And it usually helps if you already have a good following, because we could leverage that to get to that next level. And someone that's in the news today, right? Justin Bieber, got discovered. Why? Because he got a lot of YouTube views and got his big buzz through social media. And we see how powerful that social media is working for him. In the past, I don't know if it's working so well right now for him.
No.
but it does impact it one way or the other. So,
Exactly.
luckily, your clients would benefit from having your experience in making sure that they're coached on what to do online and also probably offline, because that reflects a
Exactly.
lot of what happens
Yeah.
on Twitter and the social media sphere.
Right, for sure, for sure. There's a lot of tools out there, a lot of free tools, but just because they're free doesn't mean that they're really free. You actually have to have that knowledge on and have a strategy on building that brand. I mean, like going back to Beyonce, she had a strategy in place, whether it was because they said she recorded videos about a year ago. So whether that strategy was a year ago, or we can even go back to when she was a child, it's still all a part of her brand. She still had a lifelong strategy that just continued to build on top of it. So, yeah, for sure. I think, yeah, it's just a lot of talent out there, and they really need to get it together if they really want to make something out of it.
So, Patrice, let's pretend for a second I'm a new rapper coming out on the scene. My name is Jay-Z, right? Jeff Zelaya.
Okay.
And I want to hit it big. I want to be the next Lil Wayne. I want to be the next Waka Flocka, or big time rapper. I come to you, Patrice. I need your help. What are some of the top tips that you would recommend for, let's say, in this case, a budding rapper?
I would say, for one, is to get to know yourself. There's not going to be another Jay-Z. There's not going to be another Waka. Jay-Z, he's Jay-Z in his own right. I mean, there's no one like him. There's no one like Waka, Lil Wayne, and that's why they do so well. It's because they're themselves, and they've been that for years. So I would say, don't focus on being someone else. Focus on being yourself. Get to know who you are and what you want the world to see. If you want people to see you as some gangster or whatnot, which I don't condone that. I don't condone people being something that they're not, because it all comes out, even though it's worked for some. But I don't like it, because it's selling, it's like false advertisement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would definitely say get to know yourself, and then build on top of that. Build on that foundation. And there was one person that I had asked too. I didn't ask, but I told her. I said, in the process of building your brand, don't be afraid to ask people what they think of you. Don't be afraid to ask them what they think of you as a person, not necessarily your music, but as a person, and what are your strengths and weaknesses, because that's all a part of your brand. A lot of people want to lead with the music, but nowadays it's like, no one's looking for the music. Everyone is looking at, Drake on SNL. No one's talking about his song. It comes out, but also what he does outside of that studio is important.
His personal self.
Exactly.
And that makes the music, in turn, that makes the music good, right? Because you're sharing your real self on those records.
Right, and I think that's why he does so well, is because he's himself. He's not trying to be the next gangster. He's an actor from Degrassi in Canada, and that's what works so well with him. So I think music is going to lead in that. It's going to be less gimmicky, and more people, just being who they really are. So I would say that would be the number one step. And then after that, building your social media, building all of your online branding, making sure that it's consistent, so that way when everyone, sees that logo, they know it's you, they know what you represent, they know that you're a trusted and valued brand, and that you put effort into your music, and then just go from there, just building that, getting out there, hitting the streets, passing out CDs, performing, and building that buzz, and then you'll be all set. And then Jay-Z will come knocking on your door.
That's exactly right. I think that's very good tips, and tips that even any business could apply, right? I'm always and so are you a big believer that you have to be true, thy own self, be true. Right, be transparent, because eventually now with all these different social media tools, you're going to get found out if you're faking it. The truth will come out eventually, and it could damage you. It could damage your career, and there's no bouncing back from that occasionally, right? So it takes a long time to build a good reputation, but in seconds or minutes you could ruin it. So I think that's some very valuable advice, not just for artists, but for any business owner or entrepreneur. And then the second part is really building that strategy, like you said. Looking at what is it that I want to accomplish, getting feedback from people on a variety of levels. Having a personality. No one wants to follow a brand or a company, but if that brand or company has a good personality, they're more likely to be
Right.
attracted to them and want to do, like them and want to do business with them. So I think that's definitely crucial. And then, like you said, creating a strategy, figuring out, okay, what are the tools that we're going to use? What are the platforms that we're going to be on? Let's be consistent with our messaging throughout. No matter what we're using, let's have some kind of consistency to it.
Exactly.
So those are valuable tips, not just for artists, but for anyone out there that is looking to build their business. So,
and
Patrice,
also know what your goal is too. What is it that you want to accomplish? Do you want a fan base? Do you want money? Do you want to become the next Oprah? Do you want to become the next Jay-Z? And not saying him as a person, but the strategic alliances that he made within other organizations. He's more so known as a businessman than a rapper. So it's like, okay, do you want to go that route? So it's also good to know before you start developing that strategy is to know where you want to go and end up, and then build from there.
Yeah, he's not a businessman. He's a businessman. So, Patrice, I want to thank you for your time today. I've gotten some very valuable insight, and I'm sure so have the viewers from what you shared. And I wish you continued success with your business with PKC. Continue building that company. We're going to be seeing you everywhere in no time, and we already are. We're already starting to see that. So
thank you.
Thanks again for being our guest.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for the invite.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.